Replays tell you. Gonna upload these talks to YouTube. I will eventually. So this isn't going to be a full talk, right? Because I've already streamed for 7 hours. But I do want to just introduce you to something. So approaching, I want to show you. I want to introduce you to a spectrum of like these 3 terms, right? These 3 terms are really useful paradigm for just thinking about the game, right? You've got neutral. Doing white. How do you spell neutral? It's EU, right? Yeah. Neutral. Going red. We've got offense. Gosh. And then you got defense. Da-da. Neutral off, exactly. I should just do approach is basic spelling, yeah. You spell it like the greatest region. You know it. These three terms, I want you guys to learn them. They're gonna help you. This whole thing. Alright, and in terms of what they mean, you start the game, no inherent advantage, you are in neutral. You hit your opponent, you approach them, you are doing your offense. You get hit, you're on defense. You're on defense, yeah? Instead of, like, you dodge, you gravity cancel, you do GC downlight, dare on sword. Whoa, what's this? You skip neutral, you're all the way back on offense. Oh no, like, you're on defense and they've punished you for doing a GC wake up and attacking back. So instead, you're going to dodge away, you're going to go from defense, you're going to reset back to neutral, and then from neutral, if you find enough space, you're going to go to offense, right? I'm using a graphics tablet here. Now, I want to know if, like, that's a quite straightforward concept. I just want to know if that makes sense to you naturally. Neutral game is and I know it doesn't fit. There's a lot of what ifs here, but I just need to see if you understand the concept, because it fits well in other games as well. This is universal fighting game talk. All right, you have the neutral game where you both spawned, you both have weapons. Land a hit, you have your offense. Right, that's when you need to, like, dig into people, and you attack their defense. You fuck up, you become defensive. You end up on the wall, etc. Taiku. I just really want to drill this into you, because it lays the groundwork. Like, this is fundamentals. It lays the groundwork for so much of your thinking in game. And you don't, I shouldn't say thinking in game, just thinking about the game. And I'm gonna show you an example. I'm not gonna show you an example, but I can explain to you, because I reckon this is all you've all come across this. You all know someone. Hey DB. You all know someone who's like this. You've all seen players who basically exist exclusively on this side, offense. Now, if I tell you the legend Ashuri, right? You know what I'm talking about. That kind of player. They almost always pick a rushdown weapon like guitars, and they'll just they refuse to defend. They just sit on this offensive spectrum the whole time. They get hit, immediately they try and get back to offense. They gravity cancel neutral, right? I was that guy. A lot of people go through that phase. And what those people are is they're attackers, right? They're just single, like, you're only paying respect to one part of the game, essentially. You're only paying respect to one part of the game, and there's inherent weaknesses to doing that. Ultimately, in order to get the best offense, you need the best defense and the best neutral. That tick was abominable. Yeah, impatient, exactly. That characterizes impatient play. Now, let's talk about the exact opposite. We're talking about Brawlhalla here, right? This guy's, right? The entirely defensive players, they're almost always Swedish. JK. Love you guys. Or German. They play incredibly patiently, right? It's from, like, even though you're in neutral, like, even though technically you're in neutral, Sloth, you're an exception. Even though you're in neutral, they're defending themselves already. You know, they're jumping, they're floating, they're bouncing up and down, they're waiting and reacting to you as if like waiting for your attacks. And what they're doing is that they put themselves in defense to wait for your offense. And then if your offense hits their defense and their defense is better than your offense, you get parried. You lose. So I'm pretty sure you've all seen these types of players. The exclusively defensive player and the exclusively offensive player. And they're on like opposite ends of this spectrum. The parry players, yeah. It's players who, even when they hit you, they defend themselves. You get hit by a spear side air, and then he almost runs to the other side of the stage because he wants space. Ooh. It's quite a like Zen thing, you know. It's very Taoist, like yin yang. The idea is that exclusive defense loses to good neutral. Well, no, not necessarily. This is a more broad idea, like sense of thinking about the game. Exclusive, like any singular one, will lose to some collection of 2 or 3. I don't know if you're aware of this, but like having strong defense can changes the game in a way that makes your offense stronger, because your opponent has to put more resources into working their offense to not lose to your defense. You understand? And vice versa. If your offense is really, really good, sometimes your defense doesn't matter. Neutral. Anyway, that's a ramble. I think that's a bit too fast. That's a bit too mega brain. What I want you to, that's a bit, yeah. I really just want you to sit with this idea that you start in neutral, you get hit, you're in defense, you reversal, you go straight to offense, you get back to neutral, you reset, you're in neutral, and then you jump between them. I need you to think about neutral is quite rare in Brawl. Incorrect. Like it's almost the exact opposite. There's almost no offense or defense in Brawl. Got that fucker. Sorry. Language. I got the fly. No, I didn't. Oh yes, I got him. I got him, guys. I got him. So, visualization of the space of the 3 on stage with characters would be helpful. I agree. So what I'm going to do now, I want you to keep this image in your mind. I'm going to look at... Oh, let me close them. Neutral, offense, defense. I'm going to look at a game now. We're going to pick any replay, and we're just going to start pointing them out and see how we feel about it. Let's go to a ones game. Sure, we'll do me versus Daiku. So obviously we're in neutral. Daiku hits me eventually. Now this is kind of offense-defense, except for the fact that the weapon is clearly more important, right? The weapon spawn is more important than any kind of structure in your head. So we're both just gonna, like, oh, play, go on. But now we're in, yeah, it's neutral, but obviously Daiku's advantage because he has a weapon. And I have a neutral objective, which is to find a weapon. We're in neutral, he goes for Ensig. I'm on offense right here. This is it. I'm on offense. The instant this ends, like, technically Daiku can understand that he's defending. Like, I'd say this is the earliest point Daiku's brain should go defense mode. Now, no one is this good, but I want you to understand something. If at this moment Daiku is already thinking, okay, he's gonna N like me or S like me, here's what I'm doing. Like, it's not cognitive, like, it's not conscious thought. His brain is simply preparing itself to protect himself from what's coming. If he begins preparing himself before he's even been hit, your dodge choice can become so much stronger. Whereas what most people do when they start is you don't start thinking about your option that you can do until now, until after the hit. Sometimes, if you're very new, your brain won't even be in that defensive section at this point, and you'll get hit by a follow-up. And that happens to everyone as well, because sometimes you just don't have the mind to defend. Sometimes your mind's not there. But if you could see when you were going to be hit, you could jump to that defensive mindset. And Daiku does. Daiku's a very fast defender. So look at that. He picks a really, like, I don't know what I just did there. He picks a super reasonable option. Yeah, super reasonable option, and I put myself off stage. And now we're back in neutral. He's offending. Am I ready for this sidelight? Yes, I am. All right, dodge up. But he read it. So I chose an option, but this is a meta game now because He's seen this option before, so I was ready to defend myself, but I wasn't ready enough to like be ready and then also change my option from his read, because he had started reading this. And I'm on defense now. All right, this is kind of half neutral. So he's technically on offense, I'm on defense, but like it's a spectrum. It's a spectrum. Neutral game, neutral game, neutral game, neutral game. All neutral, and then I'm offending, and then I just double chase dodge for no reason because I suck at orb. Actually, you know what? You know what? This isn't before on that double chase dodge. Let me show you another. Like this is the flip side of the coin. Okay, this is the flip side of the coin. I do a shitty option here. Language. Sorry. I do a bad option off of this side air. In fact, the option you can see, the double chase dodge, you know off by heart. Like you know immediately that I just don't know what I should be doing. I don't know what I should be doing, and what I could do is the moment we get to this point. Oh, it didn't pause. Hang on, it didn't pause. The moment we get to here, I could be putting my mindset in the offensive side of that spectrum. It's like what that means is clearing, like instantly clearing all my thoughts of worries about me being hit, putting all my thoughts in about how Daiku's gonna dodge, and then considering my options, and also considering if I want to like slow play the offense or if I want to just go. But I don't, right? I'm not even ready for it yet here. And the way you can speed yourself up to have better offense is just to be ready to attack, like as soon as possible. It's a precious amount of time. It really is. Because if you get to the point where you're halfway through your attack animation and then you realize, oh, I have a chance of getting a string now. Your brain was still in neutral or defensive if you were scared, you know. But also you'll see that if it's in offense when it should be in defense, then you're gonna get screwed over. Bam, offense, offense, offense. He tries to reversal. I whiff my punish because that sig has no landing lag. There's no lag at all. That's good neutral. That readiness can only come from being confident in you avoiding parrying their attack. No, not necessarily. It can come instantaneously. It comes mostly from practicing your attacks. So if I have labbed and practiced orb side air, and I know all the situations after orb side air, because there is a finite number of situations from orb side air on the ground like that, then I just have to choose which one. I just have to be like, okay, this is the situation, which is the most likely, and I pick. You say being confident in avoiding parrying the attack, and it's true to an extent, because if you are not confident in your ability to defend yourself, it takes you a lot longer to move from the defensive mindset to the offensive mindset. Long hair meta coming back maybe 2 years time, 3 years time. I said in my 30s when I learned to play saxophone. That's what I said before. But yeah, the further you the more scared you are, the more down the defensive spectrum, the end of the line you are, the harder it's going to be for you to jump across. And that's why when you see people in really tense scenarios at the end of a game, no one hits these crazy, very few people hit these crazy strings unless they have a lot of momentum. And that's kind of what momentum is, right? Momentum is you being able to build your confidence, so you're putting yourself in the right mindset. You're just in the right space when you need to be. This is neutral. Look, I mean, look at that. What is this down sig from Daiku? What is this down sig? This is offense. This is offensive brain on defense. And come on guys, we're all so guilty of this, right? We get hit or something happens and we're just like, you just mash your keyboard because your brain is like, attack, fuck, slap, language. And you just get the hit, your opponent gets to hit you for free. And offensive players are really at risk of that happening. Anyway, yeah, we can just let it play. We're just yo, what if he walks into it though? Yeah, your brain is just delusional though. Your brain is straight up oh, fight, fight, fight. It's just adrenaline. Aggressive players generally I think play with a lot more adrenaline. Get sweatier. We're gonna ignore the edge guarding. I get super sweaty too. Brain goes unga bunga attack, best defense. Yes, it does. Yeah, no, it just goes unga bunga. I want to hit like, and to be honest, it's not. In some games, it wouldn't be a bad. In some moments and in some games, it's not a bad impulse. It's just you have to understand that you have an impulse to do that. There's another fly, but he's landed. He's landed. He's dead. Sorry. That's we're over, dude. We just 3-stock flies to this evening. Okay, and this is an instance here. This is interesting. So, attacking when your opponent has dodge is being in like an offensive state. When your opponent is like, this is correct defense from Daiku. I think like this is me saying, I don't think Daiku's going to defend himself. I think Daiku might not dodge here. And like dodging is like the most offensive action. I think he might not dodge. What does Daiku do? He dodges and he gets a punish for it. He gets rewarded for being on the right side. His mind being in the right place. And when people, I want to bring this back around because when people say, oh, how do I approach more? Or how can I play it more aggressively? You need to understand that like the game and you have to respect the state of the game. If you want to play more offensively, the truth is get better. But the way you get better is by respecting the game. Fly straight up, don't? Yes. Yes. Daiku's hardly been offense. I don't know if that's true. I mean, he's gotten a lot of hits from neutral. People are afraid of being called parry because they don't understand what it means. Indeed. 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 Parry is passive as well. Passive and aggressive, I need y'all to move past it, okay? That is 2016 shit. We have neutral game. And you do have people who are passive as hell. They're overly defensive. They sit on... Do you know what's... Nothing's worse. Nothing is worse, guys, than someone being on, like, absolute far end... Wow. Far end of that spectrum. The most defensive player in the world, and you lose to them. Because you know they're not doing... They don't have any neutral. And they don't have any offense. Right? They're just defensive, and they're still beating you. Nothing hurts more, honestly. It's the most tilting thing. And there's a lot of players like that. A lot of players like that. You just have to sit with it. It happens. There's loads of reasons you can lose. I call those players pussies. You can call them names if you want, but like, if you want to get a bit better at the game, you can conceptualize what's happening like this. You understand? They're a very defensive player, and if you have that idea, it can help you find ways to beat them. We'll talk about that. That's neutral game. Next thing, okay. Next thing. So I think you guys are smart, okay. I think we can move quite quickly through this. I want you to understand that this analogy doesn't apply perfectly to Brawlhalla. Offense, defense, neutral does not apply perfectly to Brawlhalla because Brawlhalla doesn't have blocking. There's no guarding. There's only dodging. And because dodging is counter-attacking, and is also your neutral way of like approaching sometimes, you only have one mechanic. Because of that, there's no prolonged defense or offense. Let me show you what defense looks like in another game. I'll show you, okay? I'll show you. Goichi defense. Oh, Goichi first left. I've shown this game before on stream, but you'll be able to understand this. I'm sure you will. You're so good for me. Okay. Alright, this is a Dragon Ball Fighter Z game, okay? Is it showing? I think it's showing. This is a DBFZ game. In Dragon Ball, like many other fighting games, when you hold back, you block. Right? In Brawl, there's no blocking. There's no blocking. Oh, let me actually... Goichi is considered the best defensive player, or just the best defender in the whole of Dragon Ball. This is this guy, Goichi Bardock. Watch him, okay? Leffen, you guys know Leffen, right? Let's just watch the end of this game. Let's just... Okay, he takes out the character, and then look at this. Cam is kind of covering the vid. Thank you, thank you. I forgot how big my cam is. Let me just... Let's just watch this.
go. Fire to the one definitely wins the neutral here. Do not give
This is defense.
Do not test him. Do not test her. That jump him.
Your opponent gets to attack you and attack you and attack you and attack you, and you have to actually play defense all the way. Like, okay, he gets a turn here. This is it's switched now. It's switched. He gets his offense.
Are you serious? This match is ridiculous. Oh my god. Oh my god.
He's keeping left at 0 bar. Well, he has 2 bars. Oh my god.
That's neutral, and now this is offense. Okay, and now Leffen's on defense.
For the next 15 seconds.
Leffen's on the like this is a combo. Now Leffen's on defense.
No reversal for him.
You can see the offense defense. Like he's trapped in the corner. Is he get back to neutral?
Worst position possible.
No. Goichi keeps his offense going,
Oh, what a challenge.
and then it switches instantly. Reversal because he used an attack.
Oh my god, the block. Goichi stop completely.
Yipes!
Breaking the Dragon Rush.
There's 45 seconds left on the clock.
Look at this defense.
Goichi has not let go of the back position on his stick. The Senzu beings are working overtime right now. I need a medical professional to check Goichi's bloodstream.
This is crazy that Goichi is that poised right now. So is Leffen. They are so.
Look how careful. Look at the neutral, man.
On the time.
Wow!
Oh my goodness.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my goodness.
Yes, 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 yes!
Hold up, hold up. Oh my god.
How does he
Hold
do
up,
that?
hey,
How does he do that?
Oh, he's still chasing.
Yes!
He's trying to jump.
Hey. And at the end, look at the pop off. Fighting comments is absolutely the best. Look at that. And also, I want to point out to you, okay? Look at how I want to show you how this ends, okay?
How does he do that?
Oh, he's still chasing.
Look at why this ends. This vanish is +2 on block. What that means is that Goichi is in the offensive position and Leffen is in the defensive position, but only by a tiny bit. And it happens so fast that Leffen disrespects it. Leffen attacks. And because he tried to do something offensive, when the game was enforcing defense upon him, he lost. Same thing. But my overall point, guys, my main point, let me bring the cam back up. My main point there was that in Brawlhalla, you don't have defense in that way. You can see it quite clearly. Has a lot more neutral game. Yeah, because there's no blocking. There's no blocking, right? I can't block. Daiku can't block. You either dodge or you don't dodge. And if you dodge, it's both defensive and it's counter-attacking. And so because of that, like, offense, defense, neutral in Brawlhalla is less real. We have a lot more neutral. Almost everything is neutral game, it feels like. But what you have is you have momentum. You have people who are, like, you have offensive and defensive, but it doesn't actually exist in the game with blocking so much. You have kind of like situations where someone's on the wall and someone's on the stage, and technically the person on the wall is in a defensive mindset because they're trying to survive, right? And wall slip is the mechanic that's enforcing some kind of difference on them. But generally on stage, everyone, even if you're attacking, you're one dodge away from being a hit, always. So going for attacks in this game has carries inherent risk. So everything is kind of neutral game. And that is a huge that was a huge revelation to me, as someone who comes from other fighters. And what I'll say is, let me think for a moment.